Good greetings to the learned learners. In this video, we discuss Home Burial written by Robert Frost. Robert Lee Frost, born on 26th March 1874 and died on January 29, 1963. He was an American poet. His work was initially published in England before it was published in the United States. He is known for his realistic depictions of rural life and his command of American colloquial speech. He frequently wrote about settings from rural life in New England in the early 20th century and used them really to examine complex social and philosophical themes. He was honored frequently during his lifetime and is the only poet to receive 4 Pulitzer Prizes for poetry. He became one of America's rare public literary figures, almost an artistic institution. He was awarded the Congressional Gold Medal in 1960 for his poetic works. On July 22, 1961, Frost was named Poet Laureate of Vermont. Now over to the poem Home Burial. It was published in 1914 and one of the longest of prose poems. It is a narrative, a dramatic narrative, and it was first published in north of Boston, and he had a general dislike for free verse, and this poem is written in blank verse, and the meter is iambic pentameter. And one can also say that the poem is a lyric narrative and written mostly in dialogue. The poem centers on the peril and pain of miscommunication. The characters, a husband and wife who have recently buried their child, cope grief very indifferently and can't understand or respect each other's mourning processes. By the poem's conclusion, the title has taken one double meaning, referring not only to the grave of the couple's dead son, but to the likely death of their love and their marriage or even their relationship. The man saw his wife at the top of the stairs from where he was standing down at the foot before she could see him. She was beginning to descend, but looked back over her shoulder at something that upset her. She took a step down hesitantly, but then stepped right back up to look again and what she had seen looking at before. Her husband said, while walking up the stairs toward her, "What are you always looking at from the window up there? I want to know." His wife turned toward him and sat down on the steps, her skirt ballooning around her, and her expression shifted from fear to blankness. Her husband repeated himself, stalling for time, "What do you see up there?" and kept climbing the stairs until he loomed over his wife and she trembled beneath him. "I'm going to take a look myself now," he said. "So have you tell me what you see, my dear." But she in return refused to give him any clues, responding only with icy body language and silence. She let him look at what she had been looking at, certain he would not see what she saw, the pitiful blind thing, and for a while he did not. But finally he whispered, "Oh," and then again, "Oh." What? She asked. "Well, I get it now." "No, you don't," she retorted. "Tell me what's out there." "Honestly, it is surprising I didn't understand what you are looking at from the start," he replied. "I never realized until now that you could see it from this spot, here at the top of the stairs. I just must used to it, that's why. Because there it is, the little graveyard. where all my family is buried. It is so small that this tiny window shows the whole thing, not bigger than a bedroom. Huh? There are three headstones made of the state, and one made of marble, wide little blocks of stone shining in the sun over there on the hillside. We don't need to pay attention to those graves. I understand now. It's not the headstones you are looking at, but our child's grave. Stop, he shouted. She pulled away out from under his arm that was propped over her on the stair rail, rushed down the staircase, and turned to look back at her husband with such an intimidating expression that he said twice in a row, before he even realized the words had left in his mouth, "Can't a man talk about his own dead child?" "You can't." Where did I put my hat? Oh, never mind. I didn't need it. I have to get out of this house. I need fresh air. Honestly, I don't know if any man can speak about that kind of loss. Ami, don't seek help or reassurance from somebody else again. Instead of me, hear me out. I refuse to chase after you. He sat down on the stairs and propped his chin resolutely on his hands. I want to ask you something, dear. You have no idea what the right way is to ask it. So help me, he said. Her only response was to reach for the latch on the door. Look, almost everything I say upsets you. I don't know how to talk about our lows in a way that satisfies you. Maybe I could be taught, though honestly I don't understand how. Men have to lose some masculinity in order to be around women. Or we could strike some deal in which I would promise not to bring up anything you would like me to avoid. But I don't like that kind of arrangement between two people in love. Couples that don't love each other probably can't tolerate one another without those sorts of deals, but a couple that is in love shouldn't need one, in my opinion. She fumbled with the latch on the door. Don't leave now. Don't take your grief to somebody else this time. Talk to me about it. Help me to relate, if that is possible. Let me share your sorrow. I'm not as different from other people as you make me seem, standing over there wearily. Give me a shot. That's it. It doesn't seem to me you are making more fuss than necessary. What in your childhood made you believe this was the right way to grieve? To be so heartbroken over the loss of your first child as to be unreachable, especially when you have a loving husband right here. You would think by now that our son had been properly mourned. There you go. Now you are belittling me. I am not. You make me angry. I swear I'll come down there after you. God, what a difficult woman you are. Here is where we have ended up, in a situation where a man can't even talk about his own dead child. You can't talk about it because you don't know how. You don't have any feelings. You who dug his grave by hand, how could you do that? That poor little grave. And yet I watched you from that exact window at the top of the stairs, heedlessly tossing dirt in the air, flinching it every which way you so carelessly that it spilled back into the grave. And I thought to myself, who is that man? I don't really know him at all. I climbed up and down the stairs. I don't know. I couldn't look away, and still your shovel kept on digging in that same careless way. And then you came into the house. I heard your loud voice in the kitchen, and I can't explain why I did it. But I crept closer so that I could see you myself. You were able to sit there. with the mud stained shoes from the dirt you had just dug out of your own baby's grave, and talk about ordinary stuff, day to day ordinary things, and you just left the shovel lying there like it was not at all a big deal, propped up against the wall. Right over there in front of the hall, I know because I saw it there. I don't know what else to do but laugh. I can't win. I'm cursed. My God, I can't ever win with you. I can literally recite the words you said that day. 3 foggy mornings plus one rainy day will not even the strongest birch fence. Can you believe that? Chatting about rotting fences on the day of your son's funeral? What on the earth did rotting fences have to do with our son's coffin? Laid out in the living room for the wake? You don't care at all. You know even people's best efforts to comfort the grieving are so insufficient, they might as well not try. Now, from the moment someone gets sick until the moment they die, they are alone, and in death even more so. Friends pretend to comfort you, to keep close, but before death has even arrived, they are distracted and drawn back to daily life, living people, things, and they know the best. But the world is far darker place than they know. I won't grieve by half measures, the way most people do. Not if I can help it. I refuse. All right, you have said everything you needed to say. You have forgotten it all out of your system, and now you must feel better. You can leave now, for God's goodness sake. You are crying. Close the door. You have lost your momentum. No need to keep being so dramatic, Amy. Who is that I see walking down the road? You. You think talking is all there is to it. I have to get out of here, out of this house. There is no way to make you understand. I swear if you leave, he shouted, even as she opened the door. Where do you think you are going? You are better tell me. I'll chase you after and drag you back if I have to. I swear I will. So that is how the poem ends. So the entire poem is in the form of a dialogue, and it's all about the cost of communication and death and grief, and of course the gender roles, the importance of gender in life. That's all about the poem. Hope you have understood. Thank you.